Good afternoon. Go back to Saturday. It was a really good win for us. All wins in the league are good wins. We had a lot of different things happen. Obviously, we had the fast start, which we were really pleased to get going quickly, especially when we had the ball first, because I don't think we've had the ball first yet this year. So that was good to get a quick start there. And then we had some adversity in the middle right before half, and they did some good things, I thought Missouri State did. And then the 3 points we had right before half, I thought gave us the momentum back. And then I thought we had a really dominant second half, and was really pleased with the way the guys came out in the second half. And we were able to get a lot of young guys in late, which always helps us. And so that'll moving forward, that's gonna be good. Especially, we lost another one. We lost Dan, confirmed yesterday with an ACL. So awful for Dan. I thought he was playing at an all-conference caliber rate, and sick for him. But he'll join the list of the guys doing their rehab, and he'll be back better than ever. And we'll patch things up and go from there. So we are on to Indiana State.
What does your Mike linebacker group look like without Matt available behind Nick?
Well, we need to find out if Matt's available. We'll find that out. He ran yesterday. We're going to find out if he can cut and some things like that. If he's not, then we'll figure it out. We haven't really come to a definitive deal, but we'll figure it out. We've always done that in the past.
Your offensive coordinator, did he abandon some run plays early when you saw that? And, what can you say about the adjustment early?
Well, I thought we did a good job keeping them off balance early, whether we threw the bubble screen to start the game to some of the power stuff, to some of our what we call iron or steel, where we're getting Bruce out on the edge, to throwing the ball and taking a shot early. I just thought we did a good job of keeping them off balance early. We had the anticipation that they were going to stack a lot of people into the run. That's why we were able to maybe hit the perimeter a little bit more. And just bottom line, we didn't have enough snaps in the first half to really get a good beat on things. But then I thought in the second half we got back to of really being diverse offensively. And I think I know it's going to help us when we're as productive as we are, or we're in the passing game, to maybe soften some zones up.
Your quarterback's up about 14 points in completion percentage from last year. What can you attribute that to?
Well, he's better. For starters, I mean, he's a redshirt junior. He's more and more comfortable, more and more confident. He's throwing the ball extremely well. We've had some drops for him where he'd probably be another 4 or 5 points higher on percentages. But I think he's seeing pictures pre-snap better than he's seen them before. And guys are running really good routes, and we're calling plays to give him a chance to be successful. And he's doing a nice job of getting us out of certain plays, and we had a couple of run plays called where he audibled and checked it to throwing the ball out to RJ because he saw some man coverage. And when you're playing a soft corner, I think that's as good as a run, throwing it out to RJ out there. And so I just think Easton is managing the game really well.
Is an 0-4 Indiana State team kind of deceiving because of their record and how many close games they've played this year?
Yeah, without question. And Eastern Illinois, they should have won those last play of the game. Liberty, they had a field goal blocked, and then they played Tennessee and Illinois State. But they're doing some good things. They have some talented guys on both sides of the ball. It's a new coaching staff that I have a ton of respect for. I know some of their staff, and they're playing at home for the first time since August 31st, so they're going to be excited to play at home. So it's another Valley game, and you've got to be ready to play.
Did you guys come out fine health-wise outside of Dan?
Outside of Dan, we were in good shape, yeah.
Having Grant now as a linebackers coach, and I'm guessing, do they run in the same system you guys do?
They do not. They're in a different system defensively.
Any advantage that Grant knows this system very well?
Oh, absolutely. You bet. There's a big advantage that Grant being there, knowing some of our checks, knowing some of our adjustments, knowing a lot of things, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams. He'll have his hands full. I'm sure both sides of the ball will want to get some information from him in special teams. And Grant's a heck of a football coach and a bright mind, and we still have to execute on the field to be successful.
Chris, 2 years ago, this is where Easton made his debut. Reflections of what you remember of that week of leading up to Indiana State, now heading back?
Well, that was an interesting week, to say the least, when we lost Carson and we were going with the redshirt freshman we didn't know a lot about. We felt pretty confident in, and we were coming off games where we hadn't played great defensively either, so it was kind of at a crossroads, and we really challenged the guys, and I know that we ran the football extremely well that week, with the running backs as well as Easton, and we started to play better defense from the Indiana State game on. But I would bring back some good memories for him because that's where he kind of started his career, and it's amazing to think how long ago that was. And I keep reiterating, this kid's only a junior, and he keeps getting better and better.
Do you think RJ is one of the most underrated players in the league?
I think he's one of the best receivers in the league. Bottom line, I really do. I mean, the kid does everything for us, from catching the football to blocking to running great routes, and I think he's a really difficult matchup for people.
Do you feel like it's important for you guys to get the receivers that aren't RJ and Shep a little more involved in the offense?
It's still taking what the defense gives them, and that's the thing is, when you're going to tip your coverage and leave the backside receiver open, that was always Zach Vra when Carson was playing, and even when Brock was playing a little bit. So that's the shortest throw too. It's the easiest throw. It's the shortest throw, and that's what we saw on Saturday, more so than anything else, of whether you're getting other people involved or not. That was the throw that was open, and that's where RJ was. We threw it to Dallas. Unfortunately, we jumped off sides in the same situation, same position, and Dallas happened to be in the game. So it's all dictated on where the coverage tilts to.
When you recruit receivers, do you tell them, we're going to run the ball first, and we're going to throw it 20 times a game? You're not throwing it around the field. Do you tell them that up front and say that?
I think they know it. I think they can see it, but we also tell them you're going to get a lot of man coverage, and you're not going to see bracket coverage. You're not going to see tilted coverage. If you can win one-on-one matchups, you're going to have great success. Not only that, I've never run into a guy that's had success at North Dakota State that said, I would rather catch 100 balls and go 4-7 than catch 40 balls and win national championships. That's the kind of guy we want.
Kane still in the mix?
Yeah, absolutely. He did some really good things. He's blocking really well. He's understanding our concepts and stuff better. It just once again where the coverage goes.
Speaking of coverage, Chris, how does James always seem to be in the right spot? They just hit him right in the hands. How does that happen?
Well, he probably was a little bit fortunate on that one. I think they overthrew a wide open guy, but you're right. You still have to be in the position. You still have to make plays. I think he does a really good job in the fact of reading quarterbacks' eyes, knowing the same thing that we just talked about from the receiver sense. Based on where our coverage is tilted, where should the football be thrown? This isn't anything that's revolutionary about football. If you're rolling one side, they ought to throw it the other. And James understands the game really well, and having played quarterback has helped him so much playing defense, especially from a pass game standpoint. Where I've been so impressed with James is how good he is in the run game, because that's something that he didn't get a great probably understanding or feel for, and did we know if he'd come and strike people and all those other things. He's been dynamite in that respect. We thought we'd get a really good pass player that was going to maybe be a little shaky playing the run until he felt comfortable. Well, we've got a complete player there, and it's really helped us out in the fact of, even though we're down another linebacker, we have the ability to play a little bit more nickel, and Robbie turns into a linebacker.
Do you find that is the case with a lot of guys that either play quarterback for you or play quarterback in high school, that they have a greater understanding? Do you focus on that in recruiting at all?
Absolutely, and Esley Thornton's a great example. Esley didn't take him long to figure out what we were doing as a linebacker. It's a different position, but you talk about going from quarterback to linebacker, quarterback to strong safety. In our scheme, that takes, you don't just go out there and say, okay, you know what you're doing. It takes a lot of reps, and it takes a lot of studying on their part and of understanding concepts, and being the fact that they played on the other side of the ball really helps them. And I think Nate Jensen was a quarterback. Now he's playing tight end. All those things, if you're the field general playing quarterback, you understand the game pretty well.
Well, on, it's Cole.
I really couldn't tell you. Not very. A week. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how. It's going to be a while, probably, Jeff, on that one.
Chris, are you still playing a few more starters on special teams coverage right now than you'd like, or do you feel like you've got a decent mix?
Well, on punt, that's the first thing that we're always going to make sure we cover. And Chris Board's on that. Jalen's on that. Dan and Levi have been on that. We're trying to keep as many starters on that because that's, I think, a big defensive play. Kickoff, we're still looking for guys, and we talked about it even yesterday. We're going to try some other guys, and we're going We're going to try some wide receivers. We're going to put Des Kane out there a little bit. We're going to try Darren Kelly a little bit. We have to continue to build that depth so that we aren't playing the same, 14, 15 guys. And where we're stressed thin at is the linebacker position, because you're going to put Nick out there, you're going to put Levi out there, you're going to put Chris out there, you're going to put Jabril out there. Well, those are the top 4 backers we have right now, playing whether it's 2 or 3 positions based on base or nickel. And so we've got to be really conscious of that, because we are, if there's one position we were getting thin at, it's linebacker.
Is that a spot you would look at lifting a red shirt, or this is what you got?
Well, we need to see. Merck's coming along, and Merck's doing some really good things on special teams. We have to learn a little bit more about Bo Pauly. We're going to do some competition things this week within practice for the Bo Paulys, the Ross Kennelys, that we need to get a look at, that we typically maybe wouldn't do some contact stuff on Tuesday. We're going to with those guys, with some younger players, a couple of freshmen in that crew, just to see, is there a guy that can help us these next 7 games minimum, that it would be worth maybe pulling a red shirt. I don't have a specific name for you. That's why we're going to do a competition drill.
You're starting a redshirt freshman at quarterback. Does that get your attention, knowing that he's kind of replacing a guy that was there the past couple of years?
Well, they're playing 2 guys, and one of them's an older guy, if I recall, right? And so I'm not sure which guy they're going to play, because they both have played in a couple of those games. And so in the Liberty, they were really good. And so whichever guy plays, I don't see the system changing much. And I know Jeff Eklinski is the offensive coordinator, and Jeff's a really good football coach, and Jeff's going to put his quarterbacks in position to be successful. I don't think they're going to change a lot based on which quarterback it is.
Did you see the replay of the targeting call?
Yeah, we got confirmation it was an incorrect call.
Chris, I know you've been wanting to get an FBS game. You get another home game for 2018. Your thoughts on 7 home games but no FBS game?
Yeah, obviously that would be the first goal, to play the FBS game. But if that couldn't happen, and I know that Jeremy and Matt dialed everybody up, it didn't happen. And so the next best thing was to try to find a way to get a 7th home game, or get another home game, because Jeremy and Matt would be able to tell you better. I don't know how many other home and away dates were available without stretching into the 20s, because of our schedule being locked in 19 and stuff. So I'm excited for our fans to be able to have 7 home games. I'm excited for our seniors and stuff to be able to have that 7th home game. And I know this, in talking to Jeremy and talking to Matt, that's been a long process that we've run into some roadblocks when we thought we'd have somebody. And we're just fortunate now, as you get into October, that you were going to get stuck with a Division II game. And that was my bigger fear, was to get stuck with a non-counter game.
Averaging about 7 penalties a game. Is that too many? Is that okay? Is that what's your?
Well, I was frustrated with a couple of false starts. We have to clean up the false starts. We had a few of those. Take Cole's penalty out. That wasn't a penalty. We had one on kickoff return that we can't have happen, because those things flip field positions. But any penalties too many, Mike. But we can't have if we have a pass interference, we have a holding or something like that, tight in the line of scrimmage, I think you could call it about every play, either side of the ball. The aggressive penalties, but the mental errors we have to clean up without question.
The Valley that gave you the confirmation on the call?
You bet. Yeah, the one that's in charge of it. Yep. Great, thanks.